This lesson is about subtracting whole numbers. When we want to talk about subtracting whole numbers, we want to talk about how we subtract, and we're talking about taking objects away from a group. So if we have 5 objects in a group, and we want to take away 3 objects from that group, we're going to have 2 objects left. So basically, we're taking our minuend, subtracting our subtractand, and finding our difference. There are some steps that we use when we subtract whole numbers with 2 or more digits. Just like in addition, we're going to first arrange the numbers vertically. After we arrange the numbers vertically, we're going to subtract the digits in the ones column, then the digits in the tens column, and so forth, moving from right to left. Again, make sure you're moving from right to left. You may need to borrow from a column to the left if you cannot take the number from that group, such as if you only have 3 and you want to take 7 from a group. You may have to borrow from the group to the left of it. Let's look at some examples. First of all, we're going to look at 78 minus 17. Our first step is to write them vertically, such as I've done here. And remember, when we write them vertically, we want to make sure that we stay within our column and keep things lined up. Now, I'm going to start on the right-hand side and do my subtraction. So I'm going to take 8 minus 7, which will give me 1. Then I move to the next column, and I'm going to take 7 minus 1, which gives me 6. So my answer to 78 minus 17 is 61. Now if we want to subtract this one and look at 8,227 minus 91, we again first want to make sure to line them up vertically. And notice that the 1 is underneath the 7 because that is the ones digit, and the 9 is underneath the 2 because that is the tens digit. We have nothing here in the hundreds digit or in the thousands digit. If it makes it easier for you, you can write in zeros there. That is okay. Now we're going to start in our our right-hand column and say 7 minus 1, which will give me 6. We move over to the tens column, and I have 2 minus 9. Well, I can't take 9 objects if I only have 2 of them. So this is where I have to borrow. In order to borrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 away from the column to the left of it and change my number by a factor of 10. Notice I started out with 2, now I'm going to have 12. So I'm going to have 12 minus 9, which will give me 3. And you can borrow as many times as you need to over, depending upon the problem. The next column is 1 minus 0, which is 1, and 8 minus 0, which is 8. So our answer to 8,227 minus 91 is 8,136. Let's look at one more example. We have 403 minus 184. Let's write them vertically and make sure that we've got them lined up which we do. And I'm going to scoot that line over just a little bit so that I have a little bit more space. And I'm going to start on my right-hand column. 3 minus 4. Well, I can't take 4 items from 3 items, so I have to borrow. Well, I'm borrowing from 0. I can't borrow from 0, so I have to come over here and borrow from the 4. And you can look at this as it is an entire 40, and I'm going to take away 1 from that, and it becomes a 39. This 0, think of it as being a 10, and I've dropped it down to 9. And this 3 now becomes 13. Because remember, when I borrow, I increase the number that I started with by 10. So now I have 13 minus 4, which will give me 9. In my tens column, I have 9 minus 8, which is 1, and then 3 minus 1, which is 2. So I have 219. You have to be very careful when you have a 0 that you're borrowing from. Again, think of it as maybe a 40 that you're borrowing 1 from, and it becomes a 39. That sometimes helps.